Alright, this is a very last video of this week, so hopefully you guys are all surviving classes alright. So, your assignment for the week, like I said in the last video, and as I've posted on Blackboard and emailed you guys, is going to be on page 26. It's going to be 1-29, so it has 2 next to it. It says with energy, and it has a flat note. So, we're going to throw a couple of things in here to make it a little bit more difficult, but it should not be anything overwhelming. Mainly because I'm going to show you guys a couple of practice tips. So you guys are very much beginners, but to some of you it might seem a little bit easier than others, but it's a really, really good time to start with some practice habits that some of you guys probably already have with your other instruments and everything. So anything that you can do with another instrument, as someone who's played another instrument in my life, you can take and transpose over to the piano. Absolutely. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit more like there's different things to worry about with piano, but anything that works for you in terms of organization, in terms of how you rehearse different sections, how you deal with things that are easier versus the things that are a little bit more difficult, can definitely be applied to the piano. And the good news with this, especially if you play a woodwind instrument or brass or you sing or anything like that, endurance is a lot less of an issue. So that's why I say, hey, you can practice 30 minutes and it should be fine. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about how we start with a piece. If you feel like you are up to it, kind of off the beginning, I would highly recommend trying to play through both 1-28 and 1-30, just because eventually you will be doing some sight reading in the future, and it never hurts to play through something else. But if you're kind of like, it's okay. Let's just focus on 129 for right now, okay? Alright, so first of all, we're going to figure out our first notes. And if you are watching these videos, I'm going to give you your starting notes and everything. So that's hopefully going to be a benefit for the rest of this. But with any piece, especially one, now that you're using both your hands, you want both of your hands to be on the piano before you start. It might seem silly when you're playing it really, really slowly, I will say that. But when you start playing things a lot faster, especially when you're sight reading, you might start with your left hand right here, and you just might start being like, oh, I got this, totally fine, and playing that, and then all of a sudden you realize you've gotten to that last note, and you have to not only register what the next note is, but you also have to get your hand there, which can slow you down, especially if you're being graded on keeping in tempo and everything like that, okay? So, our first note in the left hand is going to be, let me swivel this over here, this very first one is going to be this bass F, and then I'm going to tilt you down, see, perfect. So it's going to be this F right here, and this is a little bit backwards, so it's going to obviously look different, but you're going to put this first F right here, okay? Then you scan over, find where your right hand comes in. This is going to be middle C, the most easily identifiable note. Your thumbs are going to share spaces. I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. I've had kids who complain about it. But what you can do, and this will make more sense when we get into it, is maybe kind of switch them off a little bit, if that's reasonable to do. It might be better when you get more comfy. Also, what you want to do is not only look at the time signature, which in this case, common time, 4/4, and you also want to look and see, hey, do I have to move it all? Which at this point, you don't, so enjoy that while it lasts. Another thing, dynamics I'm not too concerned about. Everyone is like, I gotta have dynamics in there. As you're getting started, and this is just an assignment, I don't care about that too much. If you can throw them in there, awesome. Now, if you have a prepared rep piece that you've been working on for several weeks and you should know all of it, then I would expect dynamics, but don't worry about that right now if you can't get it. Another thing you should look for is that there's no key signature right now, but we do have a flat, so you want to go over, it's our 4th note, and figure out what that flat is, okay? Since This is the first week. We go F as our first note, and then we go up G, A, and then we're going to have B flat. So, for that, I will probably never show you a flat again unless it's like very difficult key signature. But what you can do, if you can see kind of, I'm putting my second finger on B flat, and as I put my fingers down, I'm just going to leave it there because then I don't have to remember like to put it on the note and take it back off and put it on, and that just gets to be too much work to keep up with as I'm playing. So if you get used to having that on there, as this is easy, you can do that, then it's going to make it a lot easier to get through. So once you have that in place, we're going to go through, I'm not going to walk you through steps and skips, but I'm going to play through it one time and name all the notes as I go. Okay? I will probably, I will, never mind on that in front. I'm going to name all of the notes for the 2 lines. Okay? All right. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning. Pick a tempo and kind of tap something out that's very, very slow, especially the first time that you're going through this. Okay? So we're going to go very, very slow for right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, A, B flat, C, and then skip down A, C, rest, C, D, E, F, G, E, G, 2. Now next line, C, B flat, A, G, A, skip, and F, C, C, D, E, G, F, F, F. Okay? Alright. If you're inclined to sing a little bit more than I am, then you can sing along with it too, and matching pitch will be really helpful. My voice is a little bit too shot to do that, and I don't want to crack on any notes, so I'm just gonna, you can also just name them, especially if you want a better idea of how the piece sounds. It's going to help to sight sing as well, and it'll help you in oral classes too, I think. So a couple of things that should be pretty basic introduction to it. There is staccato and legato. So really briefly, I'll just mention, when you play staccato, it's going to be a very quick bounce and everything's going to be disconnected. Don't come off as much as I just did, but just like that, it's going to be more with your fingers. With legato, when one finger comes up, the other goes down immediately, like that. And that'll be something that you can start thinking about if you can, but it's not going to be required for this. Kudos to you, though, and you'll get high point. Not high points because it's just for proving that you can do it. But eventually, if you can add that into like tests and stuff like that, that will be a definite plus. And then one more thing. Oh, okay. So every time that you are playing, when we were doing those short examples and everything, or doing this, watch and see if your hands are flat or if they're coming up like this. Okay? Everyone's hands are different, so it's gonna look a little bit different. But what you basically want is the C right here. Okay? And the more we go on to the semester, the more I see of this from you, the more I'm going to be like, hey, you got to get that up. You got to get that up. I'm never expecting it to be like mine or any professional pianist, but you basically want to be able to move around without any problems. So that is everything for this week. This is a little bit more long-winded, but I'm hoping that this is going to be just a little bit more instruction than you need to get you started. I will post all of the pages that you need on Blackboard so that you can function if you don't have a book for this week. And I will also make an announcement about what assignment you have for the week. So I hope you all have a great first week of classes. Stay healthy, wash your hands, register to vote, all that good stuff. And I will see you again on video in week 2.